I think we're always going to play the guys that we think give us the best chance to win. That could be a younger player, depending on how guys are doing in practice and what the particular strategy for a game is, and who may or may not match up well against a particular team. I think that's just always going to be the focus, putting the guys out there that give us the best chance to win, no matter the time of year.
Richmond has beaten quality opponents this year. It struggled against a lot of opponents that didn't have great years. Is it capable, do you think, and why do you think, of stringing together some good games to make a little push here in March?
I think we are. I think we should have the confidence that we have beaten teams like St. Louis and Fordham and Duquesne, all teams who are having very good years, and now those have been in the Robins Center, so I know the guys will be confident going into tomorrow. Our crowds have been incredible and certainly have given us a boost at home. But I think going into Brooklyn, we also should feel confident. We've played in that building already, played 2 very good games in that building this year, and overtime loss to Syracuse, and then came back the next night and beat a good Temple team who actually won on the road at the #1 team in the country at the time, Houston. So I think there is confidence certainly tomorrow and then going into the A-10 tournament. And I think we also have several guys who were part of that special run last year. I think there's definitely a confidence that comes from having gone through 4 games in 4 days and knowing what it takes, and knowing that going into that tournament they probably weren't the favorite, although they felt like coming into the year they were last year, that you can, if you're playing the right basketball and playing your best basketball at the end of the year, anything can happen in tournament settings.
Matt Gray sort of activated at this time last year. I wonder if you reminded him, or has anybody reminded him, and perhaps tried to inspire him to duplicate that?
I think Matt is he's kind of got a quiet confidence about himself that I think shows up in big moments because he is so steady. He doesn't get too high or too low, so I feel very confident that going into senior night and going into the Atlantic 10 tournament where it's kind of all on the line and his last go, that he will be confident and no doubt will draw on his big shot making from last year to hopefully do really well down the stretch here.
Could you update us on Jai Bailey?
Jai Bailey is unlikely to play tomorrow, and we will probably evaluate him again after this game, moving into the tournament next week.
Have you been in touch with Coach Mooney at all, and could you share your insight with people about how he's doing?
So I haven't talked to Coach Mooney. I'm not sure how much he's allowed to communicate himself right now, but we have gotten updates through Leah, his wife, and we got the update that the surgery went about as well as could have been hoped, and that he has, they woke him up and he's been starting to move a little bit and starting the process of recovery, and that he's in good spirits, and I'm sure it's a tough time for him, but it seems like so far everything's going about as well as could be hoped, and all the updates from Leah have been very positive.
Thank you.
Hey, can you kind of go back through the whole senior approach that you'll take tomorrow? Do you say anything to your seniors to make sure they embrace the moment but don't, overdo it for the game, and also to your non-seniors to help make it a special day for your seniors?
Sure. I think that for the seniors, much like in a rivalry game, the emotion is going to be there. I don't think there's anything extra we need to say to the guys to get them to play for the seniors. I think everybody kind of knows that that's what senior day is all about. Certainly you do the ceremony and recognize those guys before the game. But I think more in these kind of games, you don't want guys to try to do something that they're not necessarily asked to do all year. So you try to play within yourself, and you don't have to do anything special from a basketball standpoint, from an approach standpoint. Like you're still approaching the game and trying to just do the things that we've been working on all year to be good tomorrow. Now, can you be a little bit more focused and a little bit more zeroed in. Well, that's any game probably you play. But I think that's part of the message is we don't have to do anything special on senior night. We just have to be the best version of ourselves, and I think the rest of it kind of takes care of itself as far as the emotional aspect and knowing how much it means for those guys to go out the right way.
I was going to ask about the senior activities. Has Tyler mentioned anything about participating in them tomorrow?
I think we will honor Tyler for senior night tomorrow. He's finishing his 4 years, but as far as what that means for the future, he hasn't made any decisions or talked to us about that yet.
You mentioned about the 2 games earlier in the season up at Barclays in the tournament. How important was that for you guys to kind of get an idea, a lay of the land, so to speak, with the A10 tournament also up there?
I think it's very important. Anytime you can go somewhere and play well, I think that gives you a little bit of confidence. I think we shot the ball pretty well when we were in that building. We really defended well in the second game. So there's certainly a familiarity that will help us just feel comfortable walking into the building and knowing that we've played well and won there. I think hopefully we'll give our guys a little bit more confidence playing away from home.
Where do you think the guys are mentally right now?
Well, I think it's been a up and down year. As you know, we've played really good basketball at times and have had some struggles, especially on the road. But I think the thing that I've been really proud of this group about is the resilience. I think we went through a 4-game losing streak where we bounced back and beat a really good Fordham team at home. In the Barclays Center, we lost a really tough heartbreaker to Syracuse and then came back the next night and played well. We've been down big in a lot of games and come back and either won or given ourselves a really good chance to win. Coach Mooney goes out. We win our next game against a very good St. Louis team. So I think this team has been able to bounce back all year. And so I don't really worry about the mindset or the confidence of the guys. I think that's been one of our strengths, has been bouncing back and the resiliency of the group. So I think we're in a good spot, and I think everybody knows how much senior night means and how important it is to be playing your best basketball heading into the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Can you speak to the first Mason game? Obviously, literally was last year, and how they've perhaps changed and what you see in them going into the game.
They are playing really, really good basketball right now. Went back and watched our game, and I thought we played well. I thought they played well. It was a little bit of a slower-paced game. They've gotten, I think, better on both ends, offensively and defensively. It really starts with Aduro for them. We did a decent job on him last time. It at least limited the number of shot attempts he got, even though he shot a decent percentage. We defended the 3 well against them last time. But I think I think they've won either 4 or 5 in a row at this point. Won a big game at Dayton recently. So they're playing really, really good basketball. I think they're really confident right now. So it's going to be a big challenge for us to, be the best version of ourselves tomorrow. And, Oduro, he poses a lot of challenges, really good scoring in there, but I do think we match up decently with them because we do have size, and that's kind of where their strength is. But a guy like Polite he gave us trouble in the first game, and we're going to have to do a better job on him, keeping him out of the paint. But I do think it's a game that we match up decently, and we're excited to get out there.
Coach, when Richmond's coaches were sitting around last spring formulating the schedule, was part of the motivation to get in the tournament at Barclays Center the fact that the A10 tournament was there in March?
I wasn't necessarily part of those conversations by the time I got here. I think that was probably already on the schedule. But anytime you can play in the arena or the venue that you're going to participate in for your tournament, I think that would be a plus. Just like we mentioned before, to be able to have the familiarity, when the ball goes in, it really helps. And I think any time you've had a chance to be in an arena for 2 games and had a chance to shoot there, whether it's real or not, I think the confidence that you have and the mentality you have, having played there already, certainly helps.
Did your work schedule permit you to follow the Spiders through last year's A10 schedule? A10 tournament?
It did. So I don't remember. I think we must have finished the week before. The Big South tournament is the week before it's going on right now, and we lost in the second or the quarterfinals after we won one game, and so I was able to, I think, watch every game last year, and if for some reason I was recruiting or doing something else, I'm sure I went back and watched. But yes, I did get to follow it, and even as a guy who wasn't on staff, it's my alma mater, and I was probably rooting much more like a fan last year watching than I ever have before, and that was I texted Coach Mooney, I think, after the final game, and may have admitted to him I got a little emotional watching, like I'm sure everybody did, but that final game and that run was special, and something even as from afar that I'll never forget.
Did guys talk to you after those two games at Barclays about the shooting background and, whether it's how different it is as opposed to either here or a normal arena in the A10?
They didn't say anything in particular about it. I think it's a beautiful arena, and it's a place that I think the guys you walk into a place that is that nice, and a place where an NBA team plays and in the middle of the city. That's the guys get excited to play in there, and I think they were excited to play there in the early part of the season, and certainly will be excited to play in there next week.